Imagine hearing from the past, like a time traveler from the past, but then also hearing from the future, a whole different time traveler from the future. That's exactly what happened in this UK recollection of events from the 80s that we're going to go over right here, right now. Welcome to Soul Spy University, where your souls can run free and your minds are free to expand. This mind-blowing episode, which is going to blow your mind, is brought to you by your likes. That's right. Your likes are so important to us and our channel, and so that you can get content you're interested in, that it means so much to us. If you could just click that like button whenever you can, it does mean the world, as well as subscribe so that you don't miss the next mind expanding episode, and share so you can help expand the consciousness of others. So, guys, I just want to apologize to you and Tommy in advance. This is the 7th episode we're doing in a row, and I'm about to butcher this story. So if you guys have ever heard of the Dodlestone Messages, that's exactly the story I'm going to be covering today. Feel free to let me know what you know about it in the comments, as well as anything like it. And if you already know the story and want to just be here and hang out for a discussion or a really casual recollection of events with it, this is going to be the most casual summary and recollection of it and discussion there probably ever existed. Tommy, oh my God, wait till you hear this. Today I'm working out and I'm listening to this story about the Dodlestone Messages, which apparently took place in the UK around 1984. In a small, like, little cottage where a college student was living, and his girlfriend, who apparently is 10 years younger, her name is Debbie, and his friend was passing through as well. Okay, now remember the 80s? Like, I didn't even know this existed even then, but do you remember the earliest computers?
Yes, they were awesome.
Oh my God, yeah. So they ended up, because they were in university, having this early computer in their house, okay, that was a black screen with the green, like, writing, okay, and it's ancient, okay. So basically what ended up happening is, out of nowhere, the program on the computer, which was called Edward, which was the most simple thing you could imagine, gives them this paragraph from like 1546. Okay, that was like this cryptid sort of paragraph, almost poetic, almost speaking in code, but definitely not from the time era they were in. And they were perplexed, gave the computer back. Next semester, they got a different computer for work, and it did the same thing. So they kept talking about it and asking questions. Finally, another professor was like, why don't you answer it and ask it these questions? So it started asking him questions and said, also said, thank you for not scaring me. So basically this computer starts answering all these questions about the history time period he's in. Basically it's 1546, and all sorts of things, okay, that became later fine. And I mean, it just gets crazy like that. Then I guess they kept conversing throughout time, and he kept referring, the time traveler from the past kept referring to the people in the house by their names, like without them telling them the name. Okay, so that was interesting. All three of them. Okay, and even though at one point the friend was no longer there, I wonder why. And then eventually the people were like, I don't know why, but signed, from 1984, right? And then the past guy was like, what? Like 1546 guy was like, what happened to the people from, let me find the year. I mean, it's such a future year. It was like such a future year. Like way beyond even this future. So he's like, what about the people? Well, I thought you were from this future. So then the people in the middle started writing to the future people, right? Who were basically like, listen, like in much more advanced language. So now they're dealing with a really old language and a really advanced language. And basically they're like, listen, like, if we could do one of two things right now, we could explain this to you, which would give you a sudden understanding of what's going on, but then it would alter your life events, which we can't do because we can't really infringe upon that. Or it was like, or know that each of you has a soul mission and we're all part of the same God, right?
Mm-hmm.
It later comes out that the future people visited the past people, okay? Visited the past guy. I mean, this is back in the day. They didn't even have a light bulb, okay? Visited him by like, there was like a green light in his chimney and left him this device that he could talk to. So he's not typing on it, but he could talk and it would give the words into, I guess, 1984 and the future.
Okay. That solves one of my questions.
Yeah. And everybody's like, what's with the misspellings? That's what they're hooked on. Like, what's with the misspellings? It's like, are you kidding? Back then they were focused on survival, dude. Like, he doesn't know how to make sure his voice comes across right in this like futuristic technology. Like, of course the spellings are going to be like inconsistent. It's a robot making like words out of the sound you're making. Like if it was consistent, I'd be worried. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. So all this went down. It was so crazy. It made headlines. I mean, the guy ended up writing a book about it 3 years later, that was called The Vertical Plane, because apparently the future people tried explaining that time doesn't exist the way we think, that basically time travel can happen on a vertical plane. Time exists on a vertical plane, not a horizontal plane. And there's a lot of professors that really believe in this and all the evidence it presents. Oh, I mean, it got crazy. Like, the people were coming home and like furniture was piled up and stuff. Like, it was getting weird. Yeah. So, I mean, but all the friends involved totally vouched for it. They still speak on it. And the past guy apparently wrote a book on it too. It's just, how do you find it? Because it's 1546.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because all his stuff checks out. Like, he's like, I'm just farming on the red. So basically, I think he used to live on that property. Okay, is what it comes down to, because they did a lot of research on and they found like what he was talking about on the same property. And he used to live on that property, and he feels like these people are intruding on it. So it's almost seeming ghosty, you know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah. So I mean, that's amazing if this is the case. I mean, if you think about it, if this does exist in the future where people are so advanced, you know what I mean? Then they could do this, I mean, not by the parameters that Joe Rogan talks about, where it's no, you can't go back further than when you created the technology. That's the parameters that is spoken about on his show. But we don't know that for sure yet. We actually didn't know a lot of stuff until today when we recorded 7 podcasts about things. So, I don't know.
Everything is unproven until it's proven. So here's a few of my questions. One, and first of all, you said he had a girlfriend that's 10 years younger than him, but he's in college. What?
I think he was like a graduate student. Like, he's like, university smart college kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So that's still creepy.
I don't know. I wouldn't get hooked on that part.
All right, whatever. We'll pass that one out. Secondly, I was thinking, because they went to a professor and he said, just talk to them. You think maybe that like someone figured out technology to really mess with people, and it was actually him like the first email back and forth and like, what is going on? It's like, I'm from the future. Meanwhile, it's just a professor in his lab, like just drinking wine. He's like, oh, I'm going to teach them about math. And like, time is messed up.
That was a theory that was getting thrown around. As what I would think, but to be honest, that technology back then was so not even there. But what's interesting is, but basically what's interesting is what ended up happening is the future people basically was like, talk to this guy, go get this guy. And like they brought this specific guy in that knows tech really well and stuff, and had the main guy pass some envelopes of notes that the computer would say, okay, that the main guy was not allowed to see. And basically the guy that they would bring over for this could read it, and apparently wasn't allowed to tell the main guy what really going on, and apparently became evasive after that. And was like, everything going on here is good. And basically like, I guess he was told things about the future or something, but was probably sworn never to say anything. But he swears by it to this day, that he was like, I was there, this happened. He's like, I don't care who believes me, I don't care.
But that could be like part of an elaborate, that's really close to an elaborate, like how can somebody from the future, far, far future, know a specific person to do this specific thing? That's why it looks more like a prank or like a hoax or whatever, because it's like, how would they get that person? How would they do these things? I don't know about this one. This might have been the first like AIM messenger, and they're like, oh my God, the future and the past. Meanwhile, some freaking smart kid is like, oh my God, we'll make millions.
Don't forget, this is 1984 though.
Exactly. So think about it. 1984, the first email. You would freaking think, oh God, flying cars are next. Or first AIM. Maybe somebody figured it out.
Because I remember when I was in school, this computer existing, and I was born in 85. So by the time I remember this computer even existing, I was like 9. So that was like mid 90s.
Yeah, it was the best. Oregon Trail.
All right, point being that 10 years prior to that, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
No, you're not. You're not getting, I don't think that existed.
Yeah, but somebody could have made the technology, but didn't get to sell it or patent it or whatever you want to say. But had that like little thing, some little genius figures something out where it can talk to other computers that nobody has figured out yet. And for some reason, he got it in his head to screw with some kids.
I don't know. Yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, the amount of like the way the messages are, like, they're so drastically different. And honestly, the future one's very advanced. And the past one is really,
Did they give any information?
Oh yeah, tons of it. And it all checked out actually.
No, I mean like, this is gonna happen this time. This is gonna happen this time.
So they couldn't alter events. I think they did tell the guy that swears by all this, like, some things that he wasn't allowed to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
watch out for Afghanistan. Just telling you now in advance.
Yeah, see, that's probably, if there is time travel in the future, that's probably a big ramification of like, you're not allowed to do this. You know what I mean? To be honest, if you really look into the story, the future people seem to be more along the lines of aliens. Which I'm not just saying out of my imagination. I think there is something actually in the story regarding that.
But then why would they be like, let's drop this talking box in the 1500s and see what happens? Oh, they can't talk to the normal computers, but they could talk to the old green ones in the 80s. It's like, what? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that might have.
Well, because I guess they needed that middle 80s thing to, I don't know.
Floppy disk.
I would go all at once like that.
Yeah, I don't. This is why this one seems a little
I
off.
like it. I mean, I don't like what was going on around them. Like, that's not super cool.
Oh,
You
the girl that was like 4 years old, and she's like, I'm dating a college boy.
No, no. The coming home to things, like, ugh, we don't get into that kind of stuff on this channel. But thank God it didn't get too crazy. But but I mean, the time travel part of all this and the communication is just fascinating. I mean, if they ever found that book from the 1500s, then yes.
They won't. They won't. It doesn't exist.
Hmm.
One day I'd like to
I
hear the
think
ghost.
it did. Huh?
I'd like to hear the ghost part. Because if it was ghost, you said it was a ghost
This
part.
is the story. This is the story, Tommy. Okay,
Oh.
I'm saying it sounds like ghostly because he apparently he lived at the same spot in the past and is like, you're in my house.
All right, so maybe some.
But I don't want to get into that kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that the location also matches up, but the time doesn't. So I think that's interesting. So if there's a time portal, that's the only thing. And of course, the things he was finding around the house, pots piled up. That's
Okay.
That's what I don't want to deal with. Okay, I didn't want to talk about.
Not for nothing, but what kind of stupid ghost is like, I'm gonna put this on top of this? Oh, this will teach him.
No, I know, but that's what I mean. Maybe he's like, this is my house. Get this out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna pile these on top of each other. These obviously expensive pots.
No, it's like these don't go in this cabinet.
Yeah, if I was a ghost, I'd be sitting and be like, what the hell is this box with these images? I'd be freaking out from the TV. I wouldn't even bother piling things.
Oh yeah, he called it a box of light. And so that's interesting. Okay, but no, it's not that. It's like he's living that. He's thinking other people. God, that scared me. He's thinking other people are in his property. Like he's you know what I mean? So basically it's a layering of different dimensions and realities in the same spot, which is interesting because the future people are saying time is not horizontal, it's vertical. So if you think about it, it's like they're all in the same spot. You know what I mean? So that might be in like a portal kind of thing, where they're all technically living, you know what I'm saying, in their time zone. And remember, time doesn't technically exist. I think them knowing more about that in the future, especially with Donald Hoffman's work of not needing time and space for reality to exist, coming into science now, I think that's how this is sort of going to work, piece together. We're just starting to do that. But so think about it. Right now, we're the living ones, right? If we sense something else in our reality from the future or the past, we're thinking that's a ghost, but they're thinking we're the ghosts. You see what I'm saying? So to that past guy in the 1546, he thinks there's a ghost from the 80s.
Just sitting there going like this. It's like, why is this ghost doing this?
Let's just get off the topic of ghosts because, yeah, they could do anything, writing, whatever, Anyway, point being, ghost is a concept. And maybe what it is that time, it's not that I don't get it. It's just such an interesting art that it's like, how to put this? It really is a poem, It's that, the concept of ghost is just, this is another living, energy imprint that is existing here just as much. Just like angels. We're not scared of angels. Why should we be scared? And they could be right here, and that's great. And we are just here thinking we're the living ones based on our limited paradigms of time, space, and we're putting barriers up with our five senses. However, we have to remember with Donald Hoffman's work that we are filtering out like 99.9% of our actual reality. So which we've done for survival for many, 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 many years. And I think that's why we're starting to open the veil a little in our minds, because we're ready to. We've survived this far. We can, And I think the more we sort of open it, the more we'll be aware of what's around us. Maybe some people take mushrooms to see more of what's around us that is usually filtered out. I'm not sure. Maybe maybe people do things for that reason, but I hope you guys don't think you have to resort to drugs to see anything like that. It just takes,
I mean, it would make sense that like all these ghosts are wearing like old school outfits and stuff, and maybe that time and space are just like piling up on one another, and you think that you see them, but they think they see you, and they're like, what the hell's going on, and all that stuff. And it's not ghost at all. It's just a person sitting there doing this in another time, but you're just getting a quick glimpse.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Exactly. And maybe this is all the time. But sometimes, as they say, a glitch in the matrix, which could just be our brain's normal filtering out of 99.9%. Well, the glitch in that, filtering out of 99.9% happens where all of a sudden it's 99.8% because you see something in your peripheral for a second. Glitch. It's not a glitch. It's that you let a little more in, maybe. I don't know. Just thinking.
I don't know. But the computer thing, that's weird. That's weird. But the 10-year, the girlfriend thing freaked me out. I don't even know why that was brought up. It's like, what was the point of it?
Because he was because it happened, because the past guy brought it up in his damn literature. He's like, I see you have a hot girl, but like in his past talk. It was
yes, because it's past talk, and in the past at that time they only lasted until 20, so she was probably 11, and he's like, oh my.
Oh.
But weird either way. What is this
would
called?
be really crazy that they didn't bring up yet? Imagine if this is all the same person
That could get across that river. Oh yes, that'd be no. If it was the same, how could it? No, what? Maybe it's this person's like lineage. It's like his bloodline, and only he can talk to it.
That's cool too. That is cool too. And they all happen to live in that same house.
Yeah, or that same area.
Again, you with the area. I understand same house. Area, maybe. You got something there. You got something, maybe.
Yeah, I think that there's something with the land and the energies that come from the planet. Maybe, who knows? I just don't understand. Like, there's you said he wrote a book, not the old guy, not the old 1500s guy. I mean the newer guy.
Yeah, called Vertical Plane, which is apparently very hard to come by. It's like over $100.
Okay.
If we find it, guys, we'll put a link.
Yeah. I hope it's better than I was on the computer. I was playing Miss Pac-Man. Oh wait, was Miss Pac-Man 1980? I don't know what the hell's on there.
Regarding the book, guys, apparently it's very poorly written because the guy is not a writer. And it's like a poor recollection of what happened, just sort of pieced together very fragmentedly, which actually also points to the whole thing where this is not a calculated hoax where he's just like, I just want to sell the book, because he wasn't a writer to begin with. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like studying that kind of thing to begin with. This was all like, oh my God, I got to piece this together in 3 years.
But here's the thing, I don't think it was a hoax that he did. I think it was a hoax that was played on him. Like somebody that learned how to message another computer through their computer at that time was like, I'm gonna mess with whatever this guy's name is, Zeke. And he's like, ghosts.
But the amount of paragraphs in a certain kind of language is like, that had to be a lot of work.
I want to see what this language is. I want to see how his pronouncement of his language. Thou art on a box of magic, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's the past talking." Obviously,
Oh no, there's been a lot of research done. But here's the thing: you would think if it's a joke. If I was doing that as a joke, you'd have to put like I'd have to put a couple words in there that are like it's like all old language, and then I would put something like very once in a while that's like what, like that'd be like out thou yo. You know what I mean?
but like I said, if it was a smart kid, like a really smart kid that actually learned how to crack these codes and everything, you would think he would know what the hell's up. I don't know. This is a strange one. I never heard of this one before. We gotta look
I
more
know
deeply.
it's called the Dodlestone Messages.
Yeah, that's a weird one. And to be able to be like, it's like, I mean, not for nothing, but how would the future be like? Oh, I got to be on at this time, or the past be on this time? How would they all know to be on the same time?
Oh no, crazy stuff started happening. Like they would just type a message and not even send it. They would type something, delete it, and then the person would just know what they said. Um, and then like at one point they gave it over to psychics, okay? And basically the computer's like, you've interfered with communication. We can only talk to these people.
I think the psychics are telling me something now. Yeah, that's weird. Then maybe it does have to do with ghosts. If the psychics got involved and they were like, "Get out of here."
You think?
Possibly. Because why would they freak out if psychics showed up? Like, who cares? They're just other people.
Yeah, that was weird. Well, I think that there was advancement in the future souls that knew what each soul needed to hear, maybe. And maybe like it would get translated wrong through the psychic. Sorry, I am so distracted by what's going on outside. It's a freaking circus out there. Anyway, but actually, interesting question, because this also points back to Donald Hoffman's work, where reality is just the 0.001% that we did not filter out based on our survival and what's good for us. So perhaps those souls that were receiving these messages were that little percent ready to be receiving them. You see, it's their consciousness that it was meant for, that allowed this in, that needs these messages, and other consciousnesses perhaps it's just not the same job. It would be perceived differently. It wouldn't be relayed right. It's just not their job, perhaps, is what was maybe conveyed by future people or whatever, that understand how this works more.
But they said that they time traveled and gave a bunch of freaking people from the past a box that talks to. It's like, so what?
Yeah, but those
What?
people are meant for it. Maybe that's him. I don't know.
Who the hell is meant for it in the 1500s? They were all animals. Let's point that one out. So it's like, and only 1500s? That's all they got? Those two, the future and the 1500s? Like, come on.
Well, that's what's interesting. Maybe it has to do with the location. Maybe it has to do with what you said. Maybe it is all the same person. Mm-hmm.
I'm calling ghost shenanigans.
I'm not calling that.
Ghost shenanigans.
Oh
Bunch
God,
of
we're running out of time.
Oh.
All right, well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this in-depth discussion. We'd hang with you longer. However, Zoom is kicking us out. And anything more to say on this, Tommy?
Yeah, these damn ghosts gotta stop messing with the living.
Oh my God. We don't mean to scare you. This is a very mind-expanding podcast. We're all safe here. Please don't scare people, Tommy. I wish I never asked you that question. Please let me turn back time and not ask it. Also, yeah, guys, this is a safe place for your minds to expand and your souls to run free. And there's nothing to be scared of, guys. This is not, now we got to release it around Halloween, Tommy. Thanks. Okay. Okay. Uh, so
We talk
sad.
about like aliens coming and doing stuff to people and all kinds of stuff. And you think this isn't this is scarier?
I could deal with that for some reason. Those are fine to me. I'll meet an alien any day. Okay.
Fine.
Angels, great.
Let
Aliens and
me
angels,
reiterate.
doing good.
Let me reiterate. These interdimensional people or time traveling people, or whatever you want to call
They're
it,
fine. Yes, I like that.
have to stop messing with us.
Hey, they are not. They were talking to us. That is your perception. What do you guys think? Please leave in the comments. Please leave in the comments. It's time for them to weigh in, Tommy. They're intelligent. Okay. We want to hear from them. Yes. 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 Also, come hang with us next time. Give our video a thumbs up if you can. Subscribe so you don't miss the next mind-blowing discussion. Usually it's way more organized than this. This was sort of a freestyling, relaxy taxi kind of hangout. I hope you enjoyed. And share, because I want to know what others think. Please help expand the consciousness of others. And yeah, if you want to contact me to either be on the show or any sort of life coaching, intuitive session with me or manifestational, the link is in the description box. If any of you feel called to do a good deed and you want to donate to the cause of this small channel where I'm trying to aim at expanding the consciousness of others so they could think outside the box and help expand the consciousness of the collective, etc. Oh my God, you have no idea how much that means to me. It really fuels me to keep putting out content for you and really lifts me up on a day that YouTube frankly beats me up quite often. And I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait to see you next time. Have fun in life and make the rest of your life be the best of your life.